collecting the different clues in the scavenger hunt. And she had a guidebook. And at the end of the guidebook, there was a question. And I think it's one of the most important questions I've ever asked in my life. But because I'm a super romantic person, I took her to the most romantic spot in central Alberta. I packed her into my stallion of a car, Chevy Sprint Turbo, 3-cylinder. The doors couldn't open from the inside. You had to go from the outside. It was awesome. And we drove down to that spot, which was important to us. If you're on the old highway going through Black Falls, you get to the bridge. Sorry, Sundar. Blind Man River. You been there? That's a bridge, and you can pull in under, and under the bridge is this romantic spot, which nowadays is full of graffiti and garbage. But back then, only had slightly less graffiti and garbage. And it was there under the bridge. And my little heart got all the courage, and I said, Caitlin, will you marry me? Most important question I ever asked, and it changed my life. She said yes. She said yes. So this is the concept that our sermon series is about in Epic. We think that you could be one question away that you ask that could change your life. We think that maybe you could be one question away from being fully devoted to God. It sometimes just comes down to one question. So what we did at the end of last year, and we're still taking questions, by the way, is you submit all the questions that you've had that are your obstacles to faith, and then we're going to talk about them. And we might be able to answer some, and some we might not. And last week, Josh talked about a couple of questions that have to do with, is Jesus coming back? This week, this was a bunch of questions that all kind of ask the same thing. How do I know that Jesus is the way? How do I know that Christianity, I should even be listening to them? There are so many religions. Actually, they tell us there are 4,200 religions officially in the world. How can you say that this is the way to go? Among all these religions, why does Jesus even matter? And then we get even more specific. Some people were talking, and not just Jesus. What about this church right here? Why this church among all the other churches? So this is a huge question, and it's something that we're going to try and tackle. So we're going to look at one chapter in the Bible. It's going to be John 14. If you have your scriptures, just turn with me to John 14. This is a conversation that Jesus had. This is one of the final conversations that he has with his disciples. This is a group of people who have just been following him. So John 14, and I'll start with verse 1. And this is where we'll be the whole time. Okay? John 14, verse 1. This is what it says. Do not let your hearts be troubled. You believe in God, believe also in me. My Father's house has many rooms. If that were not so, I would have told you. And I am going to prepare a place for you. And if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come back and take you to be with me, that you also may be where I am. You know the way to the place where I am going. This is the conversation Jesus had. Verse 5.